Hey, how's everybody doing? Pastor Jeff, I'm just checking in on you. I woke up today in headache mode. Sometimes I have to go so far as to block all light. That's why sometimes you do see me wearing sunglasses. Those aren't actually sunglasses, they're meant to block certain lights. My wife got them for me. Don't even know what they really do. They do help if I'm already there. They're not going to stop me if I go too far into a headache. They stink. Headaches stink. I get more in Ohio than I've ever gotten in my life because Ohio's got more barometric pressure. Why, I don't know. You guys should have warned me. It's hard to deal with sometimes. Anyway, I didn't really get on here to talk about that. I just got on here to kind of say, you know, been going through the grief process, and it's funny. After losing my dad, that first week, I was stuck on that day and the day after. Like I didn't know what day it was. We got all the way from January 6th when he passed away, all the way to the end of January. I could have sworn it was January 7th that entire time. It just felt like that next day. And I don't think this is uncommon for grief. It's it's just so hard to process that when I woke up today with a headache in March, I realized, man, I will let some time go away. I became pretty antisocial. I narrowed down everything I do to, I was with my wife. I only spoke to a few people here and there. And that's not, I didn't consciously do it. It's just how I behaved. And I hadn't made a video for a while before that. Um, Put it this way, I got sick at Christmas time. I made a video about that. That might have been the last or second to last thing I did, and I got whatever everybody was getting and still is getting at Christmas, and I hope you guys are getting over that. Have never gotten over getting headaches, and I'll tell you what, this past season, from October from October until this very day, has been the worst I have ever felt when it comes to the air pressure in Ohio, the barometric pressure. And it is more than enough to make me think I got to move, because nothing that is attempted for me otherwise, in other words, medication, blah blah blah, so on and so on, all the things they tell you to do. If 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 I start getting a headache, and they'll start in the morning, they don't always start in the morning, but this has been lately. It's just been every single morning. It's like, how far is it going to go, and am I going to have to take some medication to knock me out to get it to stop? Well, that's what I had to do today. And I wanted to make a video today, and I'm making a more than groggy video probably. But anyway, back to grief. The fact of it is, I lost all of this time in my head because it's like I woke up every morning and I had to reprocess my dad's death. And then I would have to deal with things about his death, and it would take forever. My dad passed away in Mexico. And so everything was moving like molasses of trying to get things dealt with. The first thing you have to deal with, I had to deal with, um, the first thing I dealt with was I had called him 3 or 4 times the day he passed away. This is how surprising it was. I expected him to answer the phone, and he hadn't answered, and I was worried about him. Well, I got a call from his phone, but it was not him. It was someone that was with him when he passed away calling me to tell me. Immediately after these phone calls, the next ones start coming, and the questions. You need to get authorized for your dad's funeral processes, and we need to get him to a funeral home. I'm in Ohio, he's in Mexico. Very difficult. Very difficult. I just got his death certificate not that long ago, so I could start moving along in the process of closing accounts and getting access to things to close and finding out where money is to pay his bills, to do things that need to be done that are just taking forever. So it's been this big hang up, and as long as you're dealing with the process, it's hard for you to step outside of it and heal also, because the activity of doing it keeps you in this one phase, the active phase of going through death. And the resting phase of grieving, it's coming here and there, hit and miss. I don't know if you get what I'm saying or not, but that's how I feel. Like there's days where it's like, well, nothing's happening with this today. I know that, so I'll deal with it. There's a post office account somewhere. Got to deal with it. Bank account, credit cards. All of this stuff is just kind of hanging. And now I've been able to kind of shut some of these things down, and so my brain is being able to progress through the month and the 2 months that it's actually been. And so, honestly, it's been a really difficult time. And I have some advice for you, Gen X, just a little bit, because it wouldn't matter if my dad had passed in Mexico or the United States. If he would have had um, something somewhere, even in his home, a last will and testament, his last wishes, if he would have had that, now he was 78 years old. We're in our 50s, some of us are hitting 60. And if he would have had that, a lot of these moves could have been made much quicker, and we would also know what things to go look for and shut down. He didn't have that. And I'm urging you, even as 50 somethings, 40 somethings, especially if you've got children, I don't want to put a burden on my kids when I pass that goes beyond the burden of grief if I can help it. That's enough to have to deal with without having to go to the United States consulate. It wasn't his fault that I had to deal with Spanish speaking funeral homes and Spanish speaking people that were around. It wasn't his fault. That's where he was. He chose that. That's a whole nother story. But honestly, Gen X, I'm telling you with my heart and everybody, don't make it hard on your kids and your family after you pass. It's hard enough to deal with without all this other stuff being undecided. If you have the power to decide it now. I'm going to do it. And I even told my son, I do not want me passing away to be something that puts extra stress on you, aside from already dealing with the grief, if I can at all help it. Now, people deal with things the way they deal with them. So you can't make him not be stressed, but you can help a lot with your kids and your family by making these decisions, putting them in writing, getting them notarized, getting a will. You can buy a will on Amazon just like you can buy a coffin, just like you can. I mean, you can do that. Do it. I'm going to do it. This has sold me on planning for your own death. I won't go as far to write my own obituary, but there's not a one of us that isn't going to die. And there's not a one of us, as long as we live long enough, and we've all lived long enough today because we're all here, we're going to be touched by death. We're going to grieve. We're going to cause grief. Every child goes through this. Every child that hasn't gone through it will go through it. Nobody lives forever. I'll give you the Jesus and get saved sermon some other time. You've heard that from me a million times. What you're hearing from me today is get ready. Ooh, my dog got mad at that. Must be somebody walking there, dog. Sit down. Anyway, I'm almost done here. I just wanted to give you this little bit of information from the heart, from experience right now. I probably would be a little better off mentally and in my heart. And I'm not mad at anything. I'm just saying right now, if it hadn't been so messed up trying to get certain things settled, and I'm not even close to giving you the entire thing because that's not what this is about. What? It's about find a way to make it easier on your loved ones while you can to let you go and to let them grieve. And being buried in a bunch of other work is not what they need. It's not what I needed. It's stressful, it's aggravating. Just love them like that if you can. Anyway, take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you later. I'm sorry this was kind of a downer and a dumb thing. Maybe you don't like it. You figured out you didn't like it. It's over 10 minutes long. You could stop watching at any point in time. I'm just telling you, do this for people in your life. Do it for them, because we're at that age where it's going to be happening to us. You can see, you can see the trauma it causes if not everything's sorted out. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. I'm gonna go calm my dog down. Take care.